the story goes, we find out by the treasure in the grand line, there's no doubt. The pirate whose eye is on it, he'll sing, I'll be king of the pirates, I'm gonna be king.
Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today I bring you a video on the best weapon type tier list, Dancing in the Tempest. This video explores where weapon types measure up as of Dancing in the Tempest. The Vernal Invader buffed the lance and the light bowgun, while Dancing in the Tempest introduced the gun lance as well as buffed the sword and shield and dual blades. Now here's a big disclaimer. This tier list is based off of data and performances of weapon types, not personal preference. Again, this is not my personal preference. I do not rate something because I feel like it's better. It factually must be better. Again, I feel like it's better doesn't mean it's better. It factually must be better, supported by its mechanics and its ability to dish out damage or other things. First, we're going to start out with the Japanese sources tier list as of December 2023 by Mugiwarajubi. This source is provided by Mugiwarajubi. Please subscribe to her channel. I will put her channel link in the video description. She makes incredible graphics and has phenomenal knowledge of the game. In fact, in my opinion, she is the best content creator as well as my personal favorite. As far as analysis goes and just overall her editing and everything is absolutely phenomenal. So she is actually my favorite content creator, so please go ahead and subscribe to her channel. Although she is not actively creating content, I do believe she will quickly catch up to me if she comes back, and her analysis is definitely way better than mine as far as her style of delivery and her overall knowledge of the game. I do a ton of studying, and I still do a ton of studying to get better, but if she caught up with me, she would definitely be better than me. Her delivery is also very soft and soothing in comparison to my cutthroat, no-nonsense, smash-mouth style of content delivery. So if y'all hate me, at least subscribe to her. Because if she was actively making stuff right now, she definitely would kick my butt and would be I believe would be the most subscribed creator in Monster Hunter now as far as the English side is right now. This tier list is pretty solid with some minor modifications taking into account the Dancing in the Tempest updates. Again, minor modifications, but this is still pretty accurate. And Japan has arguably the most hardcore community in the game, so it's safe to say this is a very credible source. I remember someone saying, someone from a comment saying like, oh, dual blades wasn't great pre-buff, it wasn't S tier. Well, look at this tier list. This is literally December 2023, and the dual blades is S tier. It's not me, Japanese are saying it, and a lot of people are saying the dual blades is one of the best and belongs in the S tier. So, remember that part where I said, your feelings don't mean your weapon's better? I'm gonna say that a lot in this video.
You savage! Blockhead!
Idiot.
Three-sword style.
Saying three-sword style isn't an insult, Luffy.
And now we're gonna get started with the tier list, starting with the C tier. And the only thing we have in here is the Lance. Its prior rank was C, and its current rank is C. While the Lance was buffed in the Vernal Invader, it is still the worst weapon in the game right now. Although its guard abilities were buffed and power guard counter damage was increased, it still forces you to invest in defense unless you have mastered perfect guard. Due to Monster Hunter Now's nature of offense over defense, Lance must be further buffed to keep up with the rest of the armor types. That's sadly just the way it is. Lance doesn't do anything fancy, its mechanics require you to be defensive, and Monster Hunter Now, if you're going to be great at the game, requires you not to be like that. You have to be offensive minded and perfect dodge everything to oblivion. Even if you do have perfect guard and you use the perfect guard offensive guard buff, it still doesn't beat out something like Charge Blade, which can do the exact same thing, or Sword and Shield if you were using, again, perfect dodge offensive guard. It's just that bad. If you're using it, it's not great. You should probably switch. Hopefully it gets buffed in the future so it can be on par with the rest of the weapon types in Monster Hunter Now. Next, we move on to the B tier. And in the B tier, we only have one weapon, which is the Greatsword. Its prior rank was B, and its current rank is B. As the Greatsword has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Dancing in the Tempest. This weapon hits hard, but requires a lot of patience and technique for charged attacks and the shoulder tackle. Its aggressive dodge, Greatsword style, requires you to wait till a monster attacks you. That's why that style isn't necessarily bad, but it does have a requirement. So you have to wait for a monster to attack you, so it's kind of annoying. In addition, although you see big numbers, the greatsword gets punished greatly if you happen to miss an attack. And to top it all off, what really limits the greatsword from getting anywhere past B, it is also the worst status build-up weapon type in the game due to having the slowest attack speed. In order to proc status build-up, you need to do status damage. Sadly, the greatsword doesn't hit a lot. Because of that, you're not going to build up a lot of status build-up, resulting in it probably only getting one or struggling to get 2 status effects off in one hunt. Moving on, we have the A tier. And as you see, we have a lot of weapons in the A tier thanks to a lot of recent buffs. First, for the A tier, we have the hammer. Its prior rank was A and its current rank is A. The hammer has not received any buffs or nerfs as of Dancing in the Tempest. You will boink everything to death in the name of the game with the hammer. The hammer has a built-in ability to stun and smack monsters into submission. It's powerful, its stun makes it one of the best. Put Slugger 2 onto here, and you have a stunning machine, and you're going to do a large amount of damage. However, it is slow. But, again, that large amount of damage, and it helps a lot when it's used with other players that have paralysis/stun skills and weapons. Expert hammer users are also frequently able to break Kushala Daora's head to drop the rarity 6 Daora horns, making them one of the best teammates in Elder Dragon interceptions. In a lot of heads that I've broken in Elder Dragon interceptions, I've done over 200 of them. A lot of them, out of the 20 or 30 where I've broken the head, a lot of them had hammer mains in it. So thank you, hammer mains. You deserve to be in A rank and boink everything to oblivion. Next up in the A tier, we have the Sword and Shield. Its prior rank was C, so it used to be one of the worst weapons in the game, but now its current rank is A. The Sword and Shield has received a buff as of Dancing in the Tempest, and it was huge. It was very much needed. I've been calling forever, and it finally happened. The Sword and Shield now has increased damage and more perks with its accuracy and invulnerability using the Falling Shield Bash combo. Now, this is only for like the second half of its attack. If it attacks you at any given point, before then, you're still going to take damage. So use that invulnerability with a grain of salt depending on your player skill. The Sword and Shield also has the ability to stun monsters with its Shield Bash attacks. This flexibility is amazing. And in addition, it now has the newest super weapon, the Mr. Beast Sword and Shield, as it is currently the most powerful raw melee weapon in the game. It also has its own unique skill that does extra damage when using the Falling Shield Bash combo and special skill. Up next, we have the Charge Blade at A tier. Its prior rank was A and its current rank is A. The Charge Blade has received no buffs or nerfs as of Dancing in the Tempest, and is still the most technical weapon type in the game. No, seriously, it is. Its guard points allow you to time perfect guards and stay aggressive during hunts. And the ability to go from Sword and Shield to Axe mode and use its elemental discard system to do large amounts of damage is just too good to pass up. The Charge Blade is one of the best weapons in the franchise since it released, and it's definitely incredibly powerful. With that, it definitely belongs in A, and this weapon is going to still be A for a very long time. Next on the A tier, we have the Light Bowgun. Its prior rank was C, and now its current rank is A, as the Light Bowgun received a buff as of the Vernal Invader. Perfect dodging can reload or add an additional ammo, which is huge. That's what the Light Bowgun struggled with. And it got more buffs speaking of its reload later on, but as of right now, yes, perfect dodging. If you're empty, you can reload your entire magazine by perfect dodging, or add an additional ammo if you still have a bullet in the chamber. Because of this, Light Bowgun is amazing and its DPS power went up exponentially. In addition, Light Bowgun also had its range adjusted to be easier to do maximum damage. I have killed over 1,000 Mizutsune and 200 plus Kushala Daora with a Light Bowgun. I can call myself a ranged main as of right now, and it's incredibly powerful, and that adjustment to the damage range is actually a lot smoother than it looks. Even though it still requires you to max out recoil down level 3 and reload speed 3, this was actually made really easy thanks to the Koro Puke Puke coil, which you can now complete reload speed level 3 and recoil down level 3 using 3 pieces of armor. Which was a much needed buff as far as armor skill wise, equipment skill wise, that the Light Bowgun desperately needed. Last but not least, on the A tier we have the Gun Lance. Its prior rank, it was not ranked. And the current rank, it is an A tier weapon. The gun lance is the brand new weapon type introduced in Dancing in the Tempest. The gun lance is flexible, allowing for multiple different styles depending on what gun lance you are using. The worm stake shot / cannon is also able to proc status effect buildups quickly when using status elements. Worm stake shot is incredibly powerful, and again, the gun lance is just absolutely amazing when it comes to using everything it has to offer. But it also has different styles, different ways to play, and that status effect procking is one of the it's the fastest in the entire game. You can proc a ton of poison or whatever status element you are looking after if you get one worm stake shot in and you have the skill to do so. However, while the charged gun lance style has been one of the most controversial styles in the game, leading to group failures and lazy mechanics, the weapon still ranks A due to its damage potential overall. Despite how many Elder Dragon interceptions and group hunts that I also hate carrying because of charged gun lance users, it still belongs in the A tier. And now we have the S of the S, the super of the super, the goats of the goats, the S tier, starting off with dual blades. Its prior rank was S, and its current rank is still S, as the dual blades received a buff in Dancing in the Tempest. And demon mode attacks now do more damage, as if it wasn't good enough, it's still even better now. In addition, the dual blade attacks are now more accurate. The perfect dodge will also increase your demon mode gauge by half when you perfect dodge outside of demon mode. As a dual blades main, these buffs were needed as demon mode attacks can miss sometimes, and the perfect dodge did not too much outside of demon mode. So there is basically no point in perfect dodging outside of demon mode. Now we do! And the weapon still requires a bit of skill to master, and burst was tailor-made for this weapon. But it's always been great. Since its inception, it's been an S tier, and that troll that had no idea what they were talking about when they said it's not S tier, well, guess what? I don't just say it, the Japanese say it as well, but it factually is even now and more solidified as belonging in the S tier. Up next in the S tier, we have the most powerful ranged weapon type in the game, the bow. Its prior rank was S, and its current rank is still S. The bow did not receive any buffs or nerfs as of Dancing in the Tempest. It has multiple damage types that allow you to play different styles, which have spread, rapid, and pierce. The charge sidestep allows you to dodge attacks and charge levels at the same time. And the reason why it's so solidified in the S tier is because it has two of the most powerful super weapons in the game, the Black Diablos bow and the Kushala Daora bow. These weapons have damage level 4 at charge level 3, allowing them to deal large amounts of damage quickly and reposition for offense or defense. The Black Diablos bow / Kara Coilbender is currently the strongest raw weapon in the game, and the Kushala bow / Daora Sagittari is currently the strongest ice element weapon in the game. And for a very long time, until the inception, it looks there is not going to be another weapon or weapon type that will likely take over the bow supremacy anytime soon. It's just that good. It's been good for a very long time, and every game has a weapon type or weapon that's just absolutely amazing and godly. It happens in a lot of gaming franchises. If you're talking about Final Fantasy VII, Cloud's ultimate weapon, Final Fantasy VIII's Lionheart, I forgot what Final Fantasy IX is, but yes, there are the most powerful weapons out there, including things from like Legend of the Dragoon, every weapon from Final Fantasy X, where you get every character's special weapon, or an example from like Final Fantasy VII, where you have the most powerful materia, the Knights of the Round, and a bunch of things. If you do not know those franchises, well, they all have really strong weapons that outclass everything else, or mechanics that do, and the bow is the one thing in Monster Hunter now that has had supremacy and will be supremacy for a very long time. And the final weapon we have in the S tier, we have the Longsword. Its prior rank was S, and its current rank is still in the S tier. The Longsword did not receive any buffs or nerfs as of Dancing in the Tempest. In fact, it didn't receive any buffs or nerfs at all throughout its entire inception in Monster Hunter now. Although it is a little slow, this weapon has many techniques that make it one of the best weapon types in the game. The Eye Spirit Gauge grants Longswords a huge damage boost when it's full, so when it glows red, red means dead, as in whatever you're attacking is going to be dead pretty soon, hopefully. because you get a huge damage boost and you can just slash away at your whatever poor monster is in front of you. And it is the only weapon that can nullify and counter nearly any attack using EI Spirit Slash, and is the only weapon type with a mechanic that can perform that feat. Literally the only weapon that can do it. The window is actually pretty large, so that's why, again, with an invincibility, a counter skill, and a huge damage boost, it's no wonder why the longsword belongs in the S tier. In closing, choose the weapon that best suits you. If you're new to Monster Hunter now, while one weapon may be superior to others, everyone has different preferences. However, just because you feel like a weapon type is better than another doesn't mean it factually is. Some weapons lack mechanics, like the longsword, where it can just absolutely counter everything, or like the bow, where you take away half of the attacks and you can charge, sidestep, and blast everything to oblivion, and for the longest time the bow has been absolutely powerful. Not likely it's going to be overtaken anytime soon. But yes, regardless, however you feel that your weapon is so much better because you think it is, doesn't mean it actually is. Don't mislead other people into making or building a weapon or using a weapon just because you feel like it's better. In fact, over time, you should consider practicing other weapons just to gain more knowledge and get a different experience. With that being said, please do me a huge favor, like, subscribe, and comment for the YouTube algorithm. Hopefully this tier list did help y'all out, or if you're wondering, hey, what's the latest or best, or what's the worst and the least, hopefully this gave you that knowledge. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next video.